Hey everybody, welcome back. We're starting Unit 5 of the CED from a College Board, and this is Chapter 7 in Practice of Statistics and starting sample distributions. And this is starting an arc of 3 or 4 chapters that are just really kind of at the heart of what we're going to be doing, and actually the heart of how you can decide if statistics actually are very, very helpful or not. So get ready and put your seatbelts on. The neat part, though, however, is that they're all kind of related. And so you're going to keep on cycling back to these same ideas and these same concepts. So as we go through and do this, by the end, you're going to look back at Unit 5 and be like, how did I think that was so hard? If you thought it was hard. So what we're going to be talking about here is we're going to look at the chapter tests from Chapter 6. And so we're going to be talking about how do samples relate into the populations that they're drawn from. Okay, so we're going to start with a very, very simple example. So, and again, before I forget, all of this stuff is from StatsMedic.com. Check them out. A copy of these notes are linked down below, et cetera, et cetera. So, my imaginary 6th period is very small. There's only 4 people in it, and they took the test, and they got a 60, a 70, an 80, and a 90%. Yeah, way to go. So, what are the odds, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a dot plot of each one of these things. Now, the one thing to remember, we talked about this kind of back during the Beyonce unit, is as I make this distribution, this point right here, okay, what does that stand for? In this case, since this is our population, that is going to be one individual's score, in this case, of 90. Okay, so each one of these is representing a different score of somebody in the class. Okay, so another word I say way too much. We're going to take a sample of any 2 scores. In this case, I took 60 and 90, and that averages out to be 70%. And we're going to write that as X bar. Remember, X bar means it's the sample mean of what's going on, so that's 75. And in fact, I'll even write that down. Okay, so X bar is sample mean. And when we go through this, we're going to say what would be all the different possible combinations of things that we had there. So for example, so here I went through, and again, when you're doing this, come up with some sort of system. So I did the lowest number, so I did 60 and 70, 60 and 80, 60 and 90, and then I went 70 and 80, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to find the means of each of those. So here are my sample means. I have a sample mean of 65 and 70 and 75 and 75 and 80 and 85. So when you go through this, you're going to make a dot plot of that. Now, watch what happens, and this shouldn't be a surprise given some of the stuff we've started to talk about. But here, if this is my sampling distribution of X bar, which is your sample mean score, notice here, first of all, we have now a total of 6 scores, not surprising. However, then from there, we also have, notice how it tightens up. Here, I go from between 60 and 90. Down here, you're going between 60 and 85, or 65 and 85. Again, not surprising, the larger the sample, and we kind of alluded to that, but we're going to be a little bit more specific now. So now the question here, and this is, by the way, if you're a teacher and you haven't had a chance to go to one of StatsMedic's pop-up workshops, this is one of the biggest things I actually kind of got out of one of them. And it's small, but it's really kind of cool. This right here, again, what does that dot right there mean? Because we get so caught up in making dot plots and just doing it, we're not really kind of coming back to what each one of them stands for is important. So in this case, it's going to be one sample's mean score. What's this? This is one sample's mean score, in this case of 70, of 85. One sample's mean score is 75. One sample's mean score is 75. So again, each one of these dots is standing for a sample mean. So, all right. Now, the last question that we're asking here is that you're going to go through and you're going to say, all right, what's the mean of this population? So I went up, and again, this is the reason why I kind of come up with a small one. So we're adding 60 and 70 and 80 and 90, dividing it through by 4, get 75. This right over here is my population mean. That's a parameter. Up here, remember, these are statistics, and those are going to be from your sample. Okay, these are sample means. Now, if I draw this up here, it goes right down the middle. Which, if you think about it, is kind of what we want to do. And that's going to be something called an unbiased estimator that we're going to explain over here in part 2. Hope you're enjoying things. As always, subscribe, throw a link down, or throw a comment down below. Like, whatever your favorite YouTuber tells them to do. Go for that. All right, we'll see you in a minute.